All right, let's do this. Hello and welcome to the channel. Welcome to From Skeins to Stories. If you are a new viewer, then welcome here. If you are a returning viewer, then how's it going? I'm very happy to have you here. So grab your knitting, your coffee, your tea, anything that makes you feel comfy, and let's talk about knitting for a while. You can already see it's very springy. It's warm. The winter situation outside where everything is brown and dark is finally gone and makes me so happy. So today will be a very springy episode with a lot of colors and fresh yarn, and everything will be a bit lighter and brighter, and that's a reason to celebrate itself. But when you see this, it's already my birthday, so yeah, another reason to celebrate. So I'm very excited to share this few moments with you, and yeah, I have a lot of finished objects to show you, so we get started with some socks because they are the most springy thing, I think. They are shorty socks, and you might have seen them in the last episode where I talked about them. These are the Hazel Shorties by Ducati. The pattern is available on Ravelry in English and German, and they have this nice little flap above the ankle, and I think that makes them very springy because you wear them in sneakers or in your sandals in the garden if you like. And yeah, the little lace pattern on the top of the foot is also something that reminds me of the little flowers in our garden, and it's really nice. So if you are looking for a very entertaining and fast project, then you should definitely try making some sneakers. And yeah, I showed you one of the, like one sock in last episode, and the other one was like, yeah, knit up until here. And the other one was made like in one evening. So if you want, you could make a pair of these socks in 2 to 3 days because they are so addicting, and you just want to do like one more of the stitch repeat and one more and one more, and then you're already done. Do the toe and then you're done. So they would also make a very good present for someone who really appreciates some hand-knit socks. So yeah, I like them a lot. They are very... Oh no! I see I forgot one of the holes here. Oh no. Okay. Why did I not recognize that? Okay, I forgot it. Nice to know, but we just ignore it. Okay. So yeah, the shorty Hazel Shorties by Ducati are definitely highly recommended. And yeah, recommendation. And I weighed them out, and they weighed exactly 50 grams. So I have enough of the yarn left to make another pair. And I think this is a very beautiful spring color because it reminds me of, yeah, the first little flowers we have in our garden. And I have it on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember what they are called, not even in German. I don't know. I forgot. Yeah, so you could, if you are adventurous and brave enough, make 2 pairs of shorties with 100 grams of fingering weight yarn. I knit my socks always on 2mm needles because my gauge is very loose. I'm a very loose knitter, and if I could down one more needle size below 2mm, I probably would. But I think in like average stores there are no needles available in that teeny tiny size. So yeah, 2mm do for me, with a stitch count of, I think it was 60. If I knit my socks on 2.5mm, I only use 56 stitches. And yeah, mostly they wear out a bit, and then they like slip from my foot and I go down a needle size or less stitches, because yeah, that's what my gauge is and that's what works best. So every foot is different. Always use the patterns as a reference or something to work with, and then make it your own. That's always a good advice. So I was so happy with the shorty socks that I could not wait to make another pair of shorty socks, and I wanted to make them even faster. Like, can I beat that? 3 days, 1 pair of socks? I make it faster. And how do you make it faster? You choose DK weight yarn, and isn't that a match? Hello, spring. Yeah, this is DK weight yarn, and those socks I made within 24 hours because they are very, very speedy. For my foot size, I used 44 stitches on 3mm needles. You would probably use 3.5 or 4mm needles, but yeah, for me it worked out so well, and it was such a joy to knit, and like instant dopamine knitting, I would say. Shorty socks are the best if you just want to get something done and yeah, just celebrate yourself for being such a fast knitter. You can't go wrong. Sorry, you can't go wrong with shorty socks, and I think for spring I will make many, many, many more. Oh, and can you see it? We have a very professional presentation with sock blockers now. These were kindly made by my partner. I asked him to make like a mold for my socks, and he wanted to make something that's very three-dimensional. And I was like, no, we need them like, yeah, flat. And then I cut him out like the shape of my foot on some cardboard, and then he molded them with some old hangers, which was genius. So I'm very happy to have those, and probably I will force him to make many, many more because I love to hang them up on the walls and watch them, and yeah, just have them as some nice room decoration. So the other shorty socks. Yeah, what did I say? 3mm needles, and I weighed them out and they weighed 65 grams. So I have a lot of the yarn left, and I will definitely make some other slouchy socks because the colorway is just so uplifting and it's like a little mood boost, and these are totally my colors. If you could see my pants, they have like a shade of this color. So yeah, spring vibes only. And because of the new sock blockers, I'm very happy to show you the diamond cable socks from last episode again. And doesn't do the blocking some magic to the stitches? It looks so neat and so nice, and now they are too precious to wear. I will keep them in my drawer like forever. This is the Drops Fiesta yarn, and that's the colorway number 14. Last week some of you asked what colorway of the Drops yarn I used, and this is the colorway number 14, and yeah, you will find the colorway of the neutral gray somewhere. They have a gray and a beige that are very similar to each other, but yeah, this is like a warm gray, and it's a perfect match, and I'm so happy to have finally the very neat experience of sock blockers. So here we go, and the dog hair is still here, so yeah. Preserve them in the drawer, and yeah, it's just very nice to look at it. Blocking is very underrated. If you never blocked your socks, you should do it. And if you don't want to invest money to get like a professional sock blocker, because they are surprisingly expensive in Germany. I don't know, most of you watch this from the US, and probably they are not that expensive, but I would not pay 40 euros for 2 sock blockers. Why? No. They were basically free. So yeah, try it out and block your socks, and then you will see that they look like a little piece of art on your wall, or wherever you want to have them, of course. So yeah, socks. You can never have enough. From socks to something that's, yeah, way bigger and way heavier. This is the honey cardigan, and I don't even know if I can get it in the frame in all its glory, its yellow glory. Yeah. So this is the honey cardigan by Veronika Lindberg, or Kutuvakika as her designer online fancy name is. You probably all know her, so yeah. I don't know why I did not finish this, but this is lingering around since last year, because I remember I wanted to get it ready for my birthday last year, and now I finally did it. It still misses the buttons, but it couldn't get any, or at least not the ones I would like. What kind of buttons do you choose for something like this? So let's start at the beginning. So this is a pattern from her book, Knit This, I think it's called. It was her first book, but it's also available on Ravelry, and she knits it in bright yellow Drops Melody, which is a very light yarn, and it's recommended to knit on 5mm needles and you use 500 grams of this Drops Melody. So I thought, oh no, I use a combination of both of those. And this is the Drops Fiesta, and this is Lana Grossa Finito, and I think I showed it in the second episode on the channel that I had planned to make it with this yarn. So this is it's something like, it looks like a crochet chain, but with all this fluff around, and on itself it's quite soft, but against the neck it's a bit irritating. Yeah, no, okay. Don't do this again. And yeah, I thought this would be a really good combination. I think I even did a swatch to figure out how the half fisherman's rib or fisherman's rib. Something about the fisherman's pattern stuff, stitch. Something about fisherman's rib stitch. So yeah, so and after sewing it up and together and everything was just fine, I forgot about it and I did not finish it, and I couldn't be bothered to pick up all the stitches for the button band. And yeah, that's the story of until yesterday, where I thought, hey, let's just finish it. It's lingering around for a year. So I grabbed it and I thought, wow, what was I thinking? I mean, I love the colors, but it's a showstopper. When you enter the room wearing something like this, people will definitely look at you because it's yellow. And at first, when I was trying it on, let me try it on. At first I thought, okay, this looks like, yeah, like a canary, and a parrot had a baby, and that baby is that cardigan. But the more, don't worry, I won't be singing. Okay. What? Hold on. But the more I'm wearing it, the more confident I feel about it. It's so special. It feels really nice against the skin. It's not really nice against the neck. But the neckline is very low here, so it doesn't bother me too much, and I probably will not close it anyway. I will probably add some fancy buttons, but other than that, I like it. And it's heavy. I weighed it and it weighs about 800 grams, like 799. It's heavy. Compared to the 500 grams of yarn that's recommended in the pattern, that's a lot. But it's fine. It's a yellow cardigan and it's very unique, and I will very proudly wear it whenever I go to Yarn Festival. So in 2 weeks' time, I will go to Yarn Festival and I will probably wear this. I love it. So yeah, if you wear something with a lot of confidence, it's already beautiful. So yeah, the yellow cardigan. Let me know in the comments below what was the brightest and boldest thing that you've ever knit and that you were feeling so proud of that you were like, I don't mind what anybody else thinks. It's a fashion statement, right? Okay, let's move on to the next big project I want to show you. It's also very much springy, but it's a shawl, or it was supposed to be a scarf that quickly turned into a shawl. And this is the Pippa patch scarf by Famke from Mippi, the label. She's Dutch, and she had a test knitting call to test out her latest scarf pattern or shawl pattern, and It's a pattern that you basically have to calculate yourself. So you get the pattern on Ravelry, and it has a special link or QR code that leads you to a preset pattern calculator. So you can work with your yarn you want to use and the amount you want to use, or you give the finished length and width, and then it calculates the pattern for you. So you have the pattern generator included into the pattern, and then you follow the instructions according to the measurement the calculator gives you. And I thought that was a genius idea. And so I thought, okay, I want a pretty wide scarf that's more like a shawl, and this is my gauge, and this is what I think are my measurements. And I was following all the instructions, but somehow I must have mistaken the length and the width. So I ended up with something that's a blanket. And believe me, I could wrap around it my whole body. Not that there is anything wrong with the pattern. It was such a lovely pattern, and the test knit was amazing. She was so very nice, always responding, everything is fine. But my measurements and my gauge changed throughout the whole process, so I ended up with something that's a blanket instead of a shawl, but I love it. It's something that you have on your lap while knitting, when the balcony door is open and the evenings get a little chilly. So yeah, I think I said I knitted it on 4mm needles, or that was, I thought I was knitting it. And yeah, I also used my huge Drops Fiesta stash, and I weighed it out, and it is like 600 grams. So I must have used 12 of these little yarn yarn balls. So yeah, 12 of these little yarn balls, and it created a lovely blanket, and I think I will use it a lot for when the outside season begins. Okay, I need to take the jacket off. It's very warm and the sun is shining in our balcony window, so it's a bit like a greenhouse in here. So okay, what I wanted to say. Okay, what I wanted to say. It's getting warmer, and I'm always looking for new summer patterns and t-shirts and tops, tank tops, you name it, and so on. And yeah, so I know that Jessie Made is always a good address when it comes to tops, crop tops, bralettes, and so on. And this time I made the Ribble crop top, not the bralette, the crop top. And this is it. And yeah, I took some leftover sock yarns that were in my stash forever, and the pattern tells you 4mm needles and DK weight yarn. So I held the fingering weight yarn double and used 3mm needles, because I already said my gauge is very loose. I always need to go a size down to get the correct gauge. And yeah, it's funny because when you knit this like rib fabric, it's very cinched in, so it looked like a very long ridiculous tube with these tiny attached sleeves to it, and it looked ridiculous. So everyone was like, what are you knitting? What is this? A very strange hat? Something like that? No, it's going to be like a t-shirt with little sleeves. Like, how is this going to be a t-shirt? And yeah, it did. Like, blocking does all the magic. I don't know what happened here. There is a weird stitch. There's a weird stitch on it. But in the end, after blocking, it turned out very nice. Now the question is, when will I wear it? It's basically a DK weight. And I don't know if it's too warm to actually wear it at the area around where I live. I know from the soldotnas that I made that I prefer my short sleeves t-shirts to be fingering weight, because everything other than that is just too warm and it makes me feel too hot all the time. So yeah, I don't want to get the feeling of putting on a warm sweater that misses the sleeves. Yeah, if I want to wear a t-shirt, I want to wear a t-shirt, and I don't know if it was a really good idea, but I will let you know. And not only have I this as a summer piece, I also have this. And this is something I self-drafted as well. And the yarn came from my friend Ellie. She sent me this last year for Christmas, and it was, yeah, a very special skein I kept for like a very special knits. So I thought I want to get the most out of it, and I make a top that fits the whole 100 grams into one very special garment. And for my teeny tiny size, I'm very short, 100 grams of yarn are mostly enough to make a sleeveless top. So I thought, okay, I want something like a wrap style, and maybe I should cut off the threads next time. And I wanted to have something that's wrapped around in the front and closes in the back. Now, the construction of this kind of top is not the wheel new invented, so you will probably find something similar on Ravelry. I don't have a recommendation for it because I just made it up. So basically you have two triangles, and I think I increased every other row on this side and every row on this side, so the one side gets longer. And then what did I do? I increased on the longer side until I could join it in the back, or at the widest part of my bust, so that it has the circumference of my bust, joining it in the round. And then I think, what is this, like 15 centimeters? Yeah, I knitted just 15 centimeters and a ribbing straight down, stockinette island, and then it was finished. Now, everyone who had ever made an I-cord strap knows that they stretch out, and you somehow have to guess all the time how long they need to be and how much they will stretch out while wearing. So yeah, almost every of my spaghetti strap tops have a little knot on top. I don't mind if it's there, I just mind if it's too loose and falls off the shoulder all the time. So yeah, little knots for too long straps, but I don't mind. Now, I really like wearing it, and then it got wet. I really love wearing it, and then it got wet. I did not wash and block it because I know that red speckles on white yarn, I don't even know anymore what the blend is. It's some kind of like a vegan sock yarn. It started bleeding out because it was so humid in my bathroom, and I was taking a shower, and it was just the humidity in the air, and it started bleeding out. And I was like, huh? Why does it do it? And then I just took the whole thing and threw it in front of the door just to prevent any more moisture ruining the color. So if I wash it in summer now, what will happen? Is it only the red? Because I know that the reds tend to bleed out all the time if you don't, yeah, heat it up for long enough, or like boil, cook, heat up the yarn long enough while dyeing it. And will it happen to the other colors as well? I don't know, but I really like it, and the yarn is so special that I don't want to ruin it. Yeah. What can I do? If it was like a animal fiber blend, then I would just use citric acid to redo the process of, yeah, dyeing it, basically, how I would dye yarn. But it's not, and I forgot what the blend was. So yeah, not to ruin this lovely piece anymore, I will probably not wash it. And if I would still have the label of the yarn, I could maybe figure out what the blend is and how I can prevent the color from bleeding out even more. But I lost it. So Ellie, if you have an idea what this blend was, if you can remember, please let me know, because I really want to, prevent it from ruining itself when getting wet. So yeah, I really want to keep it, and it's really nice, and it uses as much of the yarn as possible, so that's definitely a win. Now, some of you asked, hey Sarah, what happened to the basic pattern idea of a summer top that you told us about in the first episode, which was a year ago? Yes, it's still there. And listen, I got into the nitty-gritty of knitting pattern grading, like down to the bottom and to the very last detail. And I started calculating stitches, making swatches, and writing everything down and calculating everything in a range of like 11 sizes. And I was very proud of that, and it was a lot of fun. And a week later, after I was done and started knitting, the pattern designer Knititude, she is a big designer, and you probably know her. I just can't remember her name. I only know her designer name. She came out with the glow tank top pattern, and I got it. And that's my light just died. Okay, let me finish. Okay, so yeah, she came out with the glow tank pattern top. Knititude came out with the glow tank top pattern, and I was curious, and I got the pattern, and it turned out that, except some minor details, it was the same stitch count. And I just was like, okay, good. Now I know that I could have done it, but I can't like throw out a pattern for free. That is basically a paid pattern by somebody else. So I just kept that to myself and use it as like a basic recipe to do something else with it. And so yeah, probably you will get any kind or some kind of summer top pattern throughout the summer or in the period of the next month. But the basic, summer top recipe pattern was created by somebody else around the same time. And I know from my experience in fashion school that this happens all the time, and that's just part of the process. Everything is a remix. All designers calculate with similar stitch counts, numbers, sizing charts, and so on. So this just happens, and it's part of the process. And if you are second, you are second. Mommy. So, Mommy, that's my call to end this video. Thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging around with me. And I hope you have a very lovely day or night or evening, morning, whatever time it is. Yeah, whatever time it is where you are. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely day and see you next week. Bye. Hi, Helly.